is the Fox 11 10 o'clock news.
Good evening, I'm Susan Hirasuna.
And I'm Jeff Michael. A man who was out celebrating his birthday is now under arrest after police say he got into a car and then caused a deadly crash in the Fairfax district.
The accident at Melrose Avenue and Crescent Heights Boulevard killed one woman and put several others in the hospital. Christy Fajardo is live at the Fairfax district to explain how it happened. Christy?
Susan, the victim is a 26-year-old Pasadena woman. Her family understandably didn't want to speak. But take a look. Here at the scene, loved ones have left flowers and a note simply reading, "We'll miss you, Sarah." Grief-stricken family members at the scene of a fatal accident. It was here at the corner of Melrose and Crescent Heights that police say a Los Angeles man hit a cab carrying 5 women early this morning. 26-year-old Sarah Gilfillan of Pasadena was killed. Several of her friends are in critical condition. The innocent victims, police say, of someone else's mistake.
The Scion hit the driver's side of the taxi, approximately in the driver's door. And because of the motion of the vehicles, the majority of the impact went into the back seat.
That's where police say Gilfillan was seated. 2 of her friends were also trapped inside the cab. The driver of the taxi had minor injuries. So did a passenger in the Scion. In all, 7 people were injured. Traffic investigators spent much of the day poring over the scene. They say the driver of the Scion was celebrating his 28th birthday, but do not believe alcohol was a factor. Instead, they say, for some unknown reason, he ran a red light, hitting several cars.
There's physical evidence that'll be left, tire marks, gouges in the roadway, position of vehicles, where they ended up, where they started, and these things will, the physics won't lie to you.
Now, police are not getting into specifics, but say what they found during their investigation today has led them to arrest 28-year-old Willie Faulkner of Los Angeles. He now faces charges of vehicular manslaughter. We're live tonight in Fairfax District. Christy Fajardo, Fox 11 News.
Only one car was involved in a tragic accident north of us in Central California, but the results even more devastating. This happened in Kettleman City in Kings County, about 50 miles south of Fresno. CHP says the driver of an SUV with 9 people inside ignored a stop sign, sped through an intersection, hit an embankment, and flipped over into a canal. The driver, an adult passenger, and 5 children were all killed. The youngest was just 5 months old. A passerby managed to rescue one little girl.
Even though the water was cold, but I still went in like that, and I got one little girl out, and well, I guess she was gone. And I tried to get the other one that was still alive inside, so I pulled her out from the back window. I had to break the window, and I had to pull her out.
CHP says there were no child safety seats and nobody had a seatbelt on.
We have an update now on a story we brought you last night at 10, a shootout on the San Diego freeway. Investigators say it started when a man shot 6 people inside an apartment. The gunman ran away onto the 805 freeway in San Diego, but undercover narcotics officers who had been tailing him followed. Police say the suspect opened fire. Officers shot back as drivers ducked for cover.
I turned around just to see what was going on. The dude just started shooting at some black van. From there, he just started coming like towards us and just started running.
The suspect was killed. A police officer was hurt, but is expected to be okay. One of the people inside the apartment was killed, and there are no details on why narcotics agents were investigating the suspect to begin with.
Lots of cities are complaining, but Mission Viejo is crowing tonight about a new report that ranks the city the safest in America. The report is based on FBI crime statistics. 2 other Southern California cities made the top 10, Thousand Oaks and Lake Forest. Irvine is number 11. Now, what about the most dangerous places? Detroit, the worst, but Oakland and Richmond, California are close by. Compton is number 14.
An Illinois police officer says he has lost 30 pounds since his wife went missing. Drew Peterson calls the stress nerve-wracking, but many now doubt how sincere he is. Laura Engel has the latest on the investigation.
The road to finding the 23-year-old mother of 2 has been filled with twists and turns that just keep coming. A man that Stacey Peterson reached out to just 3 weeks before she vanished has reportedly been called before a grand jury to see what he may know about her disappearance. All this while the search goes on for the missing mother from Bolingbrook, Illinois. According to published reports, the grand jury in the case is now asking to talk to a former friend of Stacy's, 35-year-old Scott Rosetto. He reportedly says Stacy called him out of the blue just weeks before she vanished, but that he was not romantically involved with her. Rosetto is reportedly also not considered a suspect. Instead, some investigators have reportedly speculated that Stacy Peterson's body may have been dumped near Rosetto's home in an effort to frame him as the killer. Drew Peterson has been ruled a suspect in his wife's disappearance. He contends his wife ran off with another man and has not helped in the search to find her.
I really got nothing for you guys. You know, you keep coming and you're hanging around here, and I got nothing new.
And you think Stacy is out there somewhere. What would you want to say to her if she is watching?
I want to tell her to talk to my attorney. Have a good day.
There was a candlelight vigil for Stacy Saturday night. The group marched between the Peterson home and the home of the late Kathleen Savio, who was Drew Peterson's third wife. Savio died in 2004. At that time, her death was ruled an accidental drowning. But this week, her body was exhumed for 2 new autopsies, now that Drew Peterson is a suspect in the disappearance of his fourth wife, Stacy. In a private autopsy for the family, forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Bodden concluded that Kathleen Savio was murdered. Results of the second autopsy, ordered by prosecutors, are not yet available. Laura Engel, Fox News.
Startling news about a volunteer firefighter who helped battle last month's wildfires. Steve Robles is a convicted arsonist. He was paroled in May after serving several years in prison for a series of arson fires in northern San Diego County. Several weeks ago, Robles joined the Ranchita Fire Department as a volunteer.
Having somebody that already had some training was definitely a plus that we thought, but unfortunately, it turned out we should have dug a little deeper into his background.
Robles was on the front lines last month battling the Witch Fire, which destroyed 1,000 homes. He is not accused of setting it. Robles' criminal background came to light when a visiting fire investigator recognized him.
Lots of fog out there, and Amy Murphy is here now with first weather. Amy.
Indeed, we're talking about visibilities very low, low enough to produce a dense fog advisory for tonight through early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at some of those visibilities out there. At LAX, only a half mile, less than a quarter of a mile in Fullerton, and about 3/4 of a mile even in the IE. So we are talking about very dense, thick fog that is going to be with us through about mid to late morning tomorrow. And we're going to see a few of these foggy mornings on our horizon thanks to more of an onshore flow. Sunny conditions in 70s by tomorrow afternoon. Seasonable conditions for our next 5 days. But also, we're going to see those winds really increase by tomorrow. So we're going to talk more about that coming up. Your forecast for tomorrow as you head out the door early morning, fog and 55 degrees by about 9 a.m. 72, that'll be your daytime high tomorrow with sunshine eventually, and then more cloudy conditions and more fog tomorrow night. Susan, back to you.
Thanks, Amy. 7 Bay Area beaches reopened today after being shut down earlier this month following an oil spill. A cargo ship crashed into the Bay Bridge, spilling about 58,000 gallons of oil. Most of that oil washed up on area beaches. The beaches could be closed again depending on the changing tides.
These conditions will change unfortunately on a daily basis. And probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to be looking at intermittent closures. We have extremely high tides coming up Thanksgiving through the weekend after.
Well, also today, a new study shows that tides in San Francisco Bay could spread the oil to places that were previously unaffected.
Bangladesh authorities are calling it a human calamity. Thousands of people killed or left homeless by a cyclone that ravaged the coastline 3 days ago. Gigi Graciet has details on the race to get food and clean water to victims while they still have to search for bodies. Gigi.
Well, Jeff, entire villages were swept away by Thursday's cyclone and its 150-mile-per-hour winds. Officially, the death toll has now topped the 3,000 mark, but experts say that number could go as high as 10,000. As floodwaters begin to recede and those who survived Cyclone Sidr begin to return home, most are finding there is no home left to return to. One of the worst cyclones to hit Bangladesh, Sidr left a long trail of death and destruction. Entire villages reduced to piles of wood and debris. The overpowering stench of death everywhere. A constant reminder of the thousands who lost their lives. When the water came, it swept me away, said Farouz Malik. I hung onto a tree, but my wife, daughter, and son-in-law didn't survive. I have lost them all. His story repeated throughout the country as the death toll continues to grow. Tens of thousands are still missing and feared dead. When I came back to my village, there was nothing left, said this villager. Everything was destroyed, and there were bodies lying under trees, bodies and bodies. Aid has begun to arrive, but with millions left homeless, progress is slow and people are desperate. The strong water carried me away, but my family never came back. They're still missing. Now, millions of dollars in aid from around the world is being sent to Bangladesh, and the United States is also sending 2 Navy ships with helicopters to help with the evacuations. Meanwhile, Pope Benedict asked the world to pray for the people of Bangladesh. Susan?
Gigi, thank you. The death toll from a methane gas explosion at a Ukrainian coal mine has reached 63. Over 300 miners were rescued, but dozens remain trapped, and there's little hope of finding them alive. A raging fire is hampering rescue efforts now. Accidents are common in the Ukraine's coal mines. This is the worst one in 7 years. A weekend of in-your-face American pressure has failed to move Pakistan's president away from emergency rule. One part of that state of emergency, President Musharraf shut down television stations that disagree with him. Station employees staged a protest today. Musharraf all but ignored pleas this weekend by Assistant Secretary of State John Negroponte, who urged a return to democracy. Meantime, one report says the U.S. has spent $100 million to help safeguard Pakistan's nuclear weapons. Some experts say it's paid off.
About 80 to 100 weapons. They're secured. Our officials are confident of that, as we've heard from the White House and from the State Department and the Defense Department. We're not in a nuclear crisis. It's a constitutional crisis.
The Bush administration says it has no plans to cut any of the billions of dollars in aid that it now sends to Pakistan.
The congregation of a Los Angeles church remains bitterly divided. Some members were locked out of that church last Sunday in an ownership dispute. Suzanne Marquez is live in Angelino Heights, where the doors are open again, but the dispute's far from over. Suzanne?
That's right, Jeff. The difference this week is that there was an attorney on site to defend the pastor against these allegations. The doors are open at Iglesia Evangelica Latina for Sunday service, but people who were praying outside the locked gates last week are again out front.
We can't go inside because we can't follow a man, their pastor, Moises Sandoval, who sold our properties, well, actually gave away our properties without our consent.
Attorney Julian Balingi represents Pastor Moises Sandoval, who has reclaimed Iglesia Evangelica as his church.
What we have here is a dissident group who's outside the church, who took the church by force 2 years ago and forcibly evicted Pastor Sandoval and supporters from the church. There was a determination by the ecclesiastical authority that what they had done was wrong. They disobeyed that, and they remained in the church. There was a lawsuit. A Superior Court judge also ruled that what they had done was wrong and found that Pastor Sandoval and his congregation are entitled to possession of the church.
The co-pastor of the ousted congregation admits Sandoval did win in court, but the battle isn't over.
So you turned over the properties last Saturday?
Yes. Yeah, they come and lock the door, and they say they're going to be open today. We're going to the legal process, and the court of Los Angeles, they give the approval for them. They won, but we're going to follow the next step.
They believe the church and surrounding properties are worth an estimated $18 million. So the next step, they say, they have retained 2 attorneys who are in the process of making an appeal. Reporting live in Angelino Heights, I'm Suzanne Marquez, Fox 11 News.
Hackers have ambushed one of the internet's most popular sites, posting messages that are tasteless, sometimes X-rated, and also illegal. As Phil Schuman tells us, thousands of people are victims of a very personal hack attack.
It's an unprecedented attack on MySpace, the social networking website with more than 100 million users. I am one, I am many. That's the online message the attackers have left, hacking into some 70,000 MySpace accounts using stolen passwords.
It's harassing. It's scary.
Personal information on MySpace pages altered with racist and obscene messages, most too graphic to be used on TV. There are threats of rape with the line, "I'll probably cut up your pretty face." There are references to swastikas and Nazis, invitations to join the KKK.
In most cases, they're kids without proper adult supervision that are getting coerced by, people that are not people you want influencing your kids.
This computer security consultant does not want to be identified, concerned about cyber retaliation.
In this case, people that are deliberately going after people that are in the military, they're deliberately going after young girls, they're deliberately going after people that they just, think that they want to pick on. It goes way beyond anything that is just simple harassment. It's beyond what you would want to imagine can happen to your own identity online.
MySpace, owned by Fox 11's parent company, says the safety and security of our users is a top priority for MySpace. This attack was a criminal act. We're making every effort to identify and block the spread of these images on MySpace. We've also reached out to law enforcement.
According to all the computer experts we talked with, what this demonstrates in a real basic way is the vulnerability of the internet to attack.
It's so easy to break into one of these systems that really anyone can do it.
Professor Amit Sahai of UCLA says we need urgent national action to create a more secure internet.
So there's demonstrating the vulnerabilities that we really have in our infrastructure. If these same vulnerabilities are being exploited by foreign governments or Al-Qaeda or organized crime, then they can wreak serious havoc on our way of life.
Sahai points to this study from 2005 by the President's Information Technology Advisory Committee, calling for more research dollars, more recruiting of researchers, faster transfer of new technology to the private sector. All this needed right away, but Sahai says not enough's being done. And these are the outrageous consequences, courtesy of your friendly neighborhood hackers. Phil Schumann, Fox 11 News.
He may not have won the title of American Idol, but Chris Daughtry and his band have a lot to be happy about. The rocker, along with Justin Timberlake, had a big night at the American Music Awards. The show was broadcast from the new Nokia Theater. Jane Yamamoto's live at one of the post-show parties. Jane.
Hey, Jeff. Well, this is the official American Music Awards after party. Tonight, the AMA show lasted 3 hours, and they had nearly 20 musical acts.
This is an SOS, don't want a second guess.
The Jonas Brothers.
Stand how much I need you.
Neo.
And down every road you've been.
And Rascal Flatts. A mix of music at the AMAs from Alicia Keys to Rihanna and Avril Lavigne.
So excited. I love Beyonce. She's one of my favorites, but my friend Fergie is performing. Woo!
Kind of excited. It's a big night.
I just think it's amazing that we can all from different genres get out and hang out together for one night.
A night with lots of American Idol alumni.
Yeah, it's like the Idol reunion.
I'm very excited to be here to meet everybody, see all these people that I listen to.
We are performing Home.
I like that one.
And we are nominated for 3 awards. Yeah. It's Going Home, not
Going Home. Okay. Okay,
I'm messing up my lyrics. I spent a lot of time on that.
All joking aside, when it comes to writers, Hollywood's writers' strike couldn't be avoided on this red carpet.
Our album comes out Tuesday, and so you want to do Letterman and Leno and promote it, and so our biggest chance to promote it got swept out from under us.
We're supposed to do Leno Friday and, canceled, of course, because of the writer's strike.
Soulja Boy helped host Jimmy Kimmel dance around the strike issue, doing the Superman.
But we're going to incorporate a joke with that tonight.
But music filled the night, and Daughtry dominated, taking home 3 AMAs.
We're just honored that we were noticed for our hard work.
Carrie Underwood took 3 awards, including Country Female and Album. And Fergie was named Pop Rock Female.
I was a little girl with big dreams, and tonight, one of those big dreams came true.
And on the male side, Justin Timberlake took the title. He was in Australia. He accepted via satellite. Other big winners tonight, Rascal Flatts and Beyonce. She is the first female to take the International Artist Award of Excellence. Of course, the awards have been handed out, and the party is underway tonight. We are live in downtown Los Angeles. Jane Yamamoto, Fox 11 News.
Hey, Mom. Well, a fight at a bus stop caught on tape.
I only felt her hit me twice, and I guess I passed out.
what you don't see that may have sparked this girl-on-girl fight. Here comes Santa Claus, or maybe not. Why firefighters were forced to rescue St. Nick.
I think so. I'm a little afraid.